please raise your right hand to take the oath? Kareem Sheard, having been duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows. If you will have a seat, please, and state your full name for the record and spell your last name also. Kareem Hassan Sheard. Mr. Sheard, are you currently employed? Yes. Where are you working? Hawthorne Capital in New Jersey. And what is your profession by trade? Mortgage consultant. So you have a finance background? Yeah. Were you involved or have you been charged in either Detroit or Atlanta or both with offenses, federal offenses? Yes. Let's start with Detroit. What were the charges in Detroit? Conspiracy to sell and also money laundering. And have you pled guilty to those charges? Yes. Did you enter into a plea agreement with the government in those charges? Yes. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Government's Exhibit 30A and 30B. Do you recognize those? Yes. Is that your signature on those documents? Yes. Your Honor, we offer Government's Exhibit number 30A and 30B into evidence. No objection. They are admitted. Mr. Sheard, what is 30A? The offenses on which I pled to. And is that your plea agreement? Yes. As part of that plea agreement in Government's Exhibit number 30B, did you agree to cooperate with the government? Yes. And what does that cooperation entail? Any facts I know about any of the cases that might be also pending? And what, if anything, do you get in exchange for that cooperation? Reduction in any sentencing. Is that an automatic thing that happens for you? No, it's not automatic. It just depends on the whole situation or how much assistance that was given. And who makes that decision about whether or not how much assistance you give? The judge. And you said that was drugs and money laundering? Correct. What about your Atlanta sentence? That was combined with the Detroit case? You said it was combined with the Detroit case. You mean you pled to both cases in Detroit? Yes. I'm going to show you Government's Exhibit number 29. Do you recognize that? Yes. Is your signature on that document towards the back? Yes. Is that the plea agreement that you entered into here in Atlanta? Yes. And it reflects your federal charges here in Atlanta? Yes, it does. Your Honor, we'd offer Government's Exhibit number 29 into evidence. No objection. It's admitted. As part of that plea agreement, is there a paragraph in there that talks about your cooperation? Yes. And is there a paragraph in there that talks about 1B1.8 protection? Yes. And what's your understanding of that protection whenever you give information to the government? That they will use, similar to the other one in my cooperation, it reduced in a range of what my sentence will be. Okay. Have you been sentenced yet on either one of these cases? No. In anticipation of your sentencing, do you hope that you will get some sort of reduction? Yes. But it's your understanding that's entirely up to the judge? Correct. Do you have any other felony convictions? No. Have you always gone by the name Kareem Sheard? No, I did have a few other IDs or licenses. One was Philip Woodson and another Hassan Sheard. And the Philip Woodson, what state did you get that license in? Georgia. What about the Hassan Sheard? Tennessee. I'm going to show you Government's Exhibit number 16-A. Is that the license that you got in Tennessee? Yes. It says Hassan Sheard on here. Why does it say Hassan Sheard? That's the name that I chose, which is my middle and last name. Do you typically go by your middle name? No. Is that your address? No. Have you ever lived at that address? No. What about the date of birth? Is that your date of birth? No, it's not. I'm going to show you government's exhibit number 16B. Is that the application that you filled out to get this license? Yes. And did you fill in this information here? I put my name. That's the address I was told to put in. Also the date of birth, social, height, weight. And this is your signature here? That's correct. Who gave you the information to put in there? As far as the address? Uh-huh. The gentleman's name is Taz. Do you know his real name? Biles, Terry Biles. Did you go up to Tennessee to get that driver's license? Yes. Did anyone go with you? I traveled to Tennessee by myself, but there was another gentleman there who I met once I got to Tennessee. And Terry Biles, did he assist you in getting this license? Yes. Who is Bill Marshall? It's my brother. When was the last time you saw your brother? The last time I saw my brother was about almost 3 years ago. When was the last time you talked to him? I spoke with him 8 months ago. It was via letter. By letter, you said? Yeah. Do you live here in Atlanta? No. Did you go back in the early 2000s? Yes. Did you come here because of your brother? Yes. What did he do to help you once you got here in Atlanta? Once I got here to Atlanta, he helped me get a job which was selling cars at first. Did you ever work for a company called Exquisite Empire? Yes. What was your position with Exquisite Empire? I did the books at first, then I took care of contracts. I even collected payments and I made payments as well for the vehicles. Okay. Have you ever heard of the BMF? Yes. Do you know what BMF stands for? Yes. What's that? Black Mafia family. Did you work for the BMF? Yes. What was your position with the BMF? I was under my brother, so that anything that they needed or needed facilitated for whatever, cars or whatever the case may be, ID, whatever it is, we would help them with. All right. What about paying the bills? Paying the bills as well. How would you pay these bills and get the cars? Did they give you checks or credit cards, or how did you arrange that? Well, every month they would be totaled or tallied and they would be put in an Excel spreadsheet. And from there, it was given to some of the heads of BMF. They would make sure everything was okay. Whatever the total was, they would give that amount over in cash and we would pay them via either Western Union, could be go to the bank and make the payment at the bank, depending on what type of account it was that we were paying. Have you ever been to a place over in Renway? Yes. Whose place was that? That was my brother's place. Did you ever get any of that money over at Renway? Yeah, I counted money on Renway, if that's what you mean. Do you remember how much cash it was approximately? At one point, I guess 700,000, 725. I'm sorry, you said? 725,000 to be exact. Do you know where that cash came from? It came in from the sale of drugs. Have you ever heard of a place called The Gate? Yes. Have you ever been there? Yes. Did you ever have occasion to count any money there? No. Did you ever see any money being counted there? Yes. Tell me about that. One time I went there I was sent there by my brother to ask or actually ascertain some information. And while I was there, money was being counted in one of the bedrooms. Was it just a couple? No, it was a large amount of money, probably maybe half the length of the table. I can't hear you, sir. About half the length of the table. So about where the computer is? It was to where Mr. McBurney is, to where you stand. That much money. It was all stacked up or piled up or just random? It was stacked up, probably about, I don't know, 3 inches high and the width of that. Did you see what the denomination of the bills were? Mostly 20s. They usually stacked in, I guess, 5,000 bundles, which was 2 rubber bands. Okay, you said you kept an Excel spreadsheet. I want to show you government's exhibit number 25. Do you recognize that? Yes. Is that something that you prepared? Yes. Your Honor, we'd offer government's exhibit 25 into evidence. No objection. It's admitted. Now tell us what that spreadsheet represents. This spreadsheet represents bills that was totaled by the BMF organization. Mr. Sheard, you're going to have to scoot up and speak up because you're mumbling and it's hard to understand what you're saying. Okay, sorry. This is just bills that were totaled by the BMF organization. Do you know when that was prepared? This one, I'm thinking June of '05. Now, this is actually where you tally everything. Is that correct? That's correct. And the pages that come after this, are they actually blow-ups of the separate columns? Yes. If this represents one column on that spreadsheet, and we'll go back to that spreadsheet and identify which one in just a moment, but what are these entries for? Those are cars. The white vet, what's the 831 out next to it? That's the car payment. Those are cars. They're identified either what the type of car it is or who it was for. And on the right side is the amount of the payment for each vehicle. And that's the monthly payment? That's correct. Let's go through these cars and tell me who they are for. The white vet, if you know. The white vet was for Jabo. Do you know Jabo's real name? I can't recall right now, no. What about this BLK Thunder? What is that car, or is it a car? Black Thunder, let me see. That was the black vet that was for Meech. And the white girl? That was the Maybach. I'm sorry? That was the Maybach. What is that? The Mercedes Maybach is a car. Do you know what that car was given to? That was Meech. You have two B-Dub 1 and B-Dub 2 here. What are those? BMWs. You've got IL-Dub and IL-Dub 2. What are those? Those were cars for ill. What kind of cars? One was a BMW and what was the other one? I think the other one was an Audi. And do you know why you got the Audi for ill? It was for a personal female friend of his. Did you get any other cars for ill? Besides the BMW and No, I wasn't involved in any other cars. There was another Lamborghini that was gotten for him, but I didn't take part in that. I saw it, but I didn't take part. When did you see it? I saw it at one of my brother's residences after he got the vehicle. After who got the vehicle? After Il got the vehicle, he brought it to the residence to get picked up when he lived at Lenox Park Boulevard. All right, who was there whenever you saw it right there at Mr. Marshall's condo? A few other gentlemen, I believe 6. A few other people were there. I don't remember every person that was there at the time. And then Il came and picked up the vehicle, make sure everything was correct. And I guess then he had a side discussion and he got in his car and drove back off. Okay, did you see any money exchanged that day? No. All right. Was your brother Bill Marshall and Il, were they always right there next to the car with you? Were they next to the car with me? No. What were you all doing down there by the car? Me personally, I was just watching, looking at the car. Was this a nice car? Yeah, $200,000, yeah. You've mentioned the name Il. Do you know Il's real name? No. Have you ever seen Il before? Well, obviously you've seen ill before. Have you ever hung out with ill before? Yes. Just tell me about that briefly. It was one occasion where one of the BMWs was impounded and I got it out the impound and I drove it to his residence to drop it off. Have you ever seen him out and about around town? Yes, at a few hangout spots around town. So the person that you know is ill, do you see him in this courtroom? Yes. Can you describe what he's wearing for us and what he looks like? White shirt, bald head, burgundy tie. Your Honor, let the record reflect he's identified the defendant. It shall. Were you involved in the purchase of any limos for the BMF? Limos? No. Do you know anything about any limos that the BMF had? Yes. Tell me what you know about those limos. The limos were, well, they were called tanks. They were... Tanks like military tanks? No, as in same word but different meaning. Tanks in the sense of they were large. They had compartments and stuff in those particular vehicles. What do you mean by compartments? Secret compartments. What were those compartments used for, if you know? Could be a variety of things, usually carry either money or drugs. Did you ever see one of those compartments? Not on, because there were two different sides of BMF, not on the side in which Ill was part of. Are you saying that you saw it on the Terry side? Yes. But you actually saw a limo with a trap? On Terry's side, yeah. Did you ever have to pick up drugs or money for your brother? Yes. Did you ever have drugs come to your house? Yes. Why? Because where I lived, it was a quiet neighborhood, non-assuming, also non-threatening, so it was a safe place to hold the drugs. So the drugs that you were holding, were those the drugs from BMF? Yes. And they were going to your brother? Yes, I was holding them until he instructed me who would get their quantity or portion or where it was to go. Your Honor, I believe that's all I have. No questions. You are excused. Thank you. Do you have a short witness coming up?